Greetings everyone. Um, who am I? I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns. Some days I just can't remember who I am. This is the 5th development mode session of our Invisible Sun game, The Edge of Paradox. Invisible Sun is a surreal slice of life game by Monte Games. We are... Oh, good lord, I put the wrong freaking name up. That's not who you are.
No, it's definitely not.
That is not who you are. Let me fix who you are so that... Because I had the other one up, or I had the other one ready. Let's go. There we go. Better. Okay. Professionalism. Hi. This is a surreal slice of life game by Monte Games. We are integrating the directed campaign, but most of this game happens spontaneously, as you can no doubt tell by now. Hi, Arras. Tell us who you are and who you're playing.
Hi, tonight I'm going to be Aroshka Ruzik, who is, in the current timeline of the game, an aromatic empath apostate who converses with everything, but in this session right now is a Vance, who's very confused about many things.
Yes, this is going to be very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and just mention before we dive in, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing a line for Arras, she can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and we'll do something else. If something happens that she's okay having in the game, but she doesn't want a graphic description of it, she can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it, or we'll put it behind a veil so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if you're exploring a topic or area or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for you, but you want to keep going, you can put an O in the chat to let us know you're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or we say or we do something and then think maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that to let us know if we're still doing okay. And either of us can actually do that. So it works. But now that we are here, so we're going back in time to see kind of how things sort of came about after you returned to the actuality. How much do you remember about yourself right now? And you don't have to go into huge detail about all the things. Yeah, what sort of broad areas?
I think the answer is not much. Like, I know who I am, and I know I'm a Vance, and I, remember nothing that's happened, maybe since I was, a kid. My adulthood is basically missing, and I'm I don't know. I was in the shadow being an animal trainer, and then I was here, and I'm oh, hell yeah, I'm a Vance. That's it. That's all I got. I know where I live, too.
Okay. Where do you live?
I think a house near-ish. Well, actually, we established this on the street that disappears.
Yes. So it's up on Limerence Street. At this point, it hasn't disappeared yet.
Yes.
So do we want to go through that first? you go up and you go up to your house and sort of look around.
Yeah, sure. I haven't really put a lot of thought into what Aroshka's old house looks like since she has moved.
Okay. Well, we can sort that, or some of it in any case. Let me go ahead and pull here one other thing. Let me get into that directory. There we go. Because I can... There we go. That's the one I wanted. Awesome. Okay. So, yeah, Yeah, there are a number of folks what live on Limerence Street. There's still that map in there in Roll20 if you want to look at it. We're not really rolling dice per se this time since it's going to be development mode. Or did I put a map in there? Oh, let me show you the map.
I always forget about Roll20 until it comes up, and then I'm like, let me log in real quick.
Yeah.
What is my password?
So there's a map up there that'll actually. It's very broad, but it's got a few things. It's got a few things on it. At least you can see kind of what the neighborhood looks like up there in Silver Hill, so kind of as you're. And I think it's one of those things where it's like you remembered where the house was, but then as you were later on, as we saw in game when you were looking through the telescope, you could see that a street was missing, but you couldn't see which one it was because you're very very high up, looking down at that time. But yeah, I think that. As you're kind of you're sort of heading up that way, and you're kind of looking for your house. I'm gonna actually pull a card while this is going on. But as you're looking for your house, you're gonna bump into somebody.
Boy.
And it's a fellow in sort of in long robes. He has kind of sandy hair. As he's just sort of walking about, and it's like one of his hands is kind of it's strange. One of his hands is kind of sparkling. It's got like stars inside. It's almost transparent, right? His hand and his arm leading up to his shoulder. And it like happens to him from time to time that you'll see little sort of sparkles come up in his various points on his skin as it sort of goes through different layers of transparency. It never becomes like hugely transparent. It's not like you can see into him. But as he sort of is wandering up, and he sort of looks over. Oh. Aroshka? Is that you?
That is me, yes.
Huh. It's very good to see you again. Do you not... And you've got some... I actually kind of remember this guy.
I know that I know him.
You know that you know him. You think he's part of like a cult or something, but he lives on this street.
Oh, good.
It's something. And he just sort of looks over at you as this is going on. He's like, yeah, you think he's like a leader of this the of it or something. And
his cult thing.
Yeah, his cult thing. Basically.
Oh, good.
And he's just sort of looks at you and he's like, are you all right? Did you just get back? I haven't seen you in... I can't remember when I saw you last.
Me neither.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm Axon.
Shake hands awkwardly.
He shakes hands with you. Well, this is fascinating.
Is it?
It's good to see that you're back and that you made it back. There was a lot of confusion, things going crazy, back when we all had to leave. I'm sorry, I'm throwing too much out. Shall I help you find your house?
Sure.
I will gladly do that. And he just sort of points down. It's just 2 blocks down this way.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's the one up there, and actually the card that I pulled, because I'm going to use that to help describe the house. And so he starts telling you a couple of features to look for, but I have to see I have to look at the card before I Jim know what those are. And the card that I've pulled is the Unwelcome Child, which is strangely appropriate, I think.
I am very unwelcome.
Means bad luck, imbalance, things undesired, outcasts, duplicitousness. Did I mention, by the way, this game is magic? I thought I would point that out. I think we've drawn this card before. But just as it's been a little while, so I'll go ahead and I'll reread some of this. The Unwelcome Child is unwelcome because she is a horror. No one sees her for what she truly is, and they assume that the terrible things that happen around her have other causes. She maintains a facade of sweetness and love, exploiting our own inherent affection for children. She uses our desire to nurture against us. At best, once we have realized her nature, all that we can really do is cast her out. Anything more would be wrong, for she is, after all, only a child. The Unwelcome Child is the apprentice of the Notions family and brings them no joy. A negative card, to be sure. Unwelcome Child almost always involves one getting something they do not want. Alternatively, the person in question could be the unwanted one. Okay. Unwelcome Child suggests a lie or something out of balance, something should be positive but is not, unlike with the misunderstood beast. This comes through no fault of a person in question as a result of an accidental imbalance at best or an intentional deception at worst. Okay. Yeah. So, I think that, how do you feel about having lived in a place that has maybe a book or a map motif, something like that? Do we think that's good?
Yeah, I like the book.
Okay.
Straight up be funny if I just lived in a giant book.
Okay, sure. So yes, he tells you it's the book. And as you kind of head up the block, past a lot of the more sort of normal-looking houses, as would appear on the map, just a bit off the edge of that map.
Convenient.
Yeah, isn't it though? There's this. You look up, so you go past the sort of the statue, this on top of a pillar, and you head further up, and it's kind of the. I'm going to say that it's the book on the block just after that on that corner that the book, the street on the block, that corner that you can't, that building on the corner you can't quite see clearly. I'm going to say that's a big book.
Also convenient.
Yes, isn't it? As you're heading up, you're seeing that it is closed right now, and there's not really a title on the cover, but the spine actually has in not in the usual language of Saturnine, but in its one of the code languages that one can find scattered throughout the various Invisible Sun books. It actually says Ruzik in severe code letters down the side.
I'm just imagining, like you come from our world, then you go in the shadow, and you're like, oh, I live in this giant book with my name on it. Oh, that's great. Well, because I know for sure it's mine.
There's a fence around the book, and a mailbox that looks like, as you approach, it looks like it's their letters like that have been stuffed in there. Um,
I guess I will pull out my accumulated mail.
so as you reach for the box, you get this sense that it doesn't. It's concerned.
It's concerned. My mailbox is concerned about
Yes,
me.
it is.
Oh dear.
It feels like it's almost like it's saying no, don't open, don't oh. And this mail comes spilling out. A good portion of it is like junk mails, flyers, things like that. And there are a number of ether bills. That they were providing etheric service to you for something or other, and you can see that after you're just sort of looking at this massive jumble of mail, and they're all basically each single piece of mail as it tumbles out cries out, "I am terribly important, and you must read me first."
I feel this would be a very surreal experience, considering that even if I had any memories of being a Vance, I don't think this happened in the past.
Yeah.
This is like,
That's very cool.
I have like a bag or something. I could be like, I'm just gonna stop touching those.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like you're carrying a knapsack or something that you've been traveling with.
You come back from the shadow with a mysterious backpack.
Yes, sure, absolutely.
This seems weird.
It's one of those Swiss Army backpacks.
Anyways, I'm going to swiftly stuff them into my backpack whilst feeling extremely unnerved about the fact that my mail / my mailbox are both talking to me.
No, I'm terribly important. What are you doing? And they're kind of, and again, when I say talking to you, it's more on this. It's a subtler level, because from what I understand, the power that you have is still. It doesn't. Is it not? It's not words. It's more of impressions.
More like a
right?
like a feeling, or you learn something. Let me look at the exact again.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I touch a creature object, get a sense of something about its nature or its past.
Yeah.
Not like words exactly.
Yeah, so it's these are more impressions. It's not that they're actually saying these words to you, but you get these. You get the impression through nonverbal communication that this is sort of what it's implying. You toss them in. There's some notices. One of the last things that you put in the box, there are a couple of. It looks like there's some business notices from an address to the neighborhood in the neighborhood to the south that actually have the Vance symbol on them, and then there's like an invitation type thing on a card stuck in the back that you pull out. That looks like, actually, well, I say stuck in the back, it was on top of everything, and then as you were sort of pulling it out, it kind of ended up in the back. Been sort of kind of stuck there for a minute as everything was moving around. And it's just sort of, it's sort of, you pick it up, it's kind of has, sort of waves for a moment in the breeze, in a way that seems to suggest, and you kind of sense this as well. It's like, well, I hope you're back in time. And that has the seal of the Order of the Vance on it, on the back.
Does it have a date on it? / do I know what today is?
Yes, you do. You did figure out what today was, and it's actually as far as when it was sent about a week ago, and that's what you see on the outside of it. But basically, it's from that same address that a lot of the other sort of business envelopes were that had the Vance symbol on them came from. But it's in more of a kind of parchment-like paper and sort of flattened out type deal.
Well, I will hurry into my weird book house if I can
Okay.
figure out how to get in it. And then I will look at this invitation that hopes that I'm back in time.
So you are approaching your book house, and right now the book is closed. And so there's this. You pass this garden with, up, through the. You open the little gate and you go up on the little concrete path between, the overgrown lawn, and the garden full of dead plants, and that are all seeming to say, "Why didn't you take care of us?" And
now I feel guilty.
yeah. And I'm just sort of looking at it, and the path leads up to the front of this book.
I'm like, I don't know what to do with this book. How do you get it in a book bag? Like, I don't know. I touch it.
You think there's a way that you used to get in? There's like a, but it doesn't happen when you touch it. But you think you seem to remember, because this is also something, mostly because this is also something people in the shadow do. You think you hid a key somewhere around here?
Well, I guess I will, because I just came from the shadow and I'm still a little stuck in that mindset, I will look in all the usual places, like the doormat, if there is one, under a rock, in a potted plant.
The potted plant actually turns out to be the where it is.
Oh, good.
And it's over on the corner. There are two potted plants, sort of planters, basically. They don't have plants in them currently. One's on one end, the other's on the other. And it's so the one on the right, the far right, kind of where the pages of the book more are. It's sort of where if you would open the book, it would be. You kind of go over there, and you can see the side of the book now, the other side, because you were coming up on the spine. So the opposite to the spine, there's actually a lock on the side of it, kind of like one would do with a diary, up in the middle. And you sort of look in the potted plant, and you kind of reach in and dig under the soil a little bit, and you find a key.
Thanks, past me.
The urn seems to say, "You're welcome, I guess." The urn's suspicious right now.
The urn is suspicious. Oh, well, urn, I'm confused. I'm gonna straight up just say this to the urn.
The urn is impassive.
Damn.
It does not.
Doesn't care about me or what I feel. Well, cool then. I'm gonna take the key and attempt to open my weird giant bookhouse. Also, can I just say I love that Eroshka, it turns out, has moved someplace less weird since she
It
came back and
is. It is
became
funny.
a weirdo. She's weird, but now she lives in a place that's at least semi-reasonable.
Saturnine is the place where the weird is normal. So are you gonna try to get up to the lock on the side of the book and open it that way, or what do you want to do?
I guess I don't have any better ideas. This is a literal key, right? Does it look big enough to fit in the lock, like on the...
You look up and it actually, yeah, it does look kind of like door lock. There's like a doorknob up there.
I guess I look around to see if there's like a ladder or something.
So you wander around, you go behind the book, and there is indeed in this sort of so there's way behind. There's this like covered looking garage thing.
Garage.
And you go inside, and inside there is one of those library ladders on rollers.
Wheel it out, I guess.
Okay, bring it out. You wheel it out. You wheel it over, and as you finally you get it in place, you think it's just about big enough that if you reach up, you can put the key in the lock.
Well, I'm gonna try and open this lock. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be like mumbling to myself, like, why is past me so weird?
The ladder is, by the way, as you're rolling it over, it's the wheels groan in complaint, and it also seems to be groaning in complaint just in general. It's like...
Sorry, ladder.
What?
The
ladder is confused.
The ladder's confused because I apologized to it?
Oh, no, yeah, actually. That too. It gets more confused when you apologize.
I'll be like, well, this is a really inconvenient way to get into your house. So I climb up it.
You climb up, put the key in, you turn it, and you hear a click. You turn the knob?
Yeah, I guess.
Reach up and turn the knob.
No way to turn it from the ground.
And, the thing swings open, and there's this brief glow over down where the path ends, and a door has appeared.
Oh, I have to get back down off the ladder. Well, this really is the most inconvenient house.
It is, isn't it?
Whose idea was this?
The house... This side of the house seems slightly offended now for some reason.
I'm still confused about all these senses of doing things. Like, put my hand in the house and like, was it my idea?
That's a good question. So inside, I'm going to draw another card because I can. Let's see. What do we get now? Oh, great. Okay. Surely this can't be bad. Surely it cannot be bad. At all. Not at all whatsoever. So I've drawn the assassin.
Oh, good.
This is the adept of mysteries. Its meanings are finesse, stealth, betrayal, and finality. Subtlety is the assassin's greatest tool. Anyone can kill. But he does it so deftly and so quickly that even the victim doesn't realize they're dead until the assassin is long gone. He often poses as someone harmless or even friendly because betrayal is subtlety's closest sibling. The assassin is the adept of mysteries. His knowledge of the secrets of death is limitless, and his use of skill and finesse would be a thing of beauty if he used them for anything other than murder. but he does not. In divination, the assassin doesn't just bring death, he brings an ending. Endings can be welcome, the ending of something unwanted, for example, or when it suggests betrayal. It might be a relationship that comes to an end. But when this card is turned, it can indeed foretell literal death or the threat of death. If this is the case, the death will come from an unexpected quarter. Okay.
Well, no, I don't die, so...
Hopefully not. No. Space-time continuum would go all over the place. Yeah. But actually, oddly enough, this is kind of appropriate because there is something ending. Yeah, you open the door, you go inside. No, there is no escape from murder. Yeah.
There's no escape from murder in this game.
There isn't. That's who's waiting for you inside. No. That too would cause a paradox. So yes, strangely enough is the name of this game, so perhaps we should do it. I don't know. Anyway, you go inside. So there's a hallway leading in, and the inside is a little bit bigger than the outside. But there's a hallway leading in, and there are little cubicles, I should say, almost. Shelves. Cube-shaped shelves.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
talking about? Yeah, the
Those
sort of,
have some.
the IKEA-esque thing. On the sides as you're heading up. Each one is labeled. By hand. Probably. I don't know, are you do you think that Pastor Oshka was a typewriter type person or more of a handwriting type person?
Hard to say. She was like a perfectionist, but more in like a everything has to go my way and be exactly the way I want it, less than like it has to be actually perfect. Just like has to be the way she wants it.
Okay, I feel like these are probably handwritten. Then maybe. And it's in a very flowing script, very clear. What is written on each one. And there are... Yeah, it's like there are little... In most of these nooks that have labels, there are these like glass spheres. It's like a crystal ball like thing in each one. And that's the hallway leading in. And then you can see past into what looks like a lower level and a set of stairs, a set of wooden stairs, and you can see there's there are a few walls in the back that are bookshelves. And yeah, I think on the ground floor is probably where you also have, so you look through and there's a kitchen basically on the ground floor. Also, so you've got like an entrance, so you've got an entrance hall, you have sort of a middle room, and then you have a kitchen, and that's about all there's room for down on this level, because you're inside a book that's standing vertically, so so that's what you see on this floor. As you pass by each of these orbs, it's weird because it's like you can sense each of them, and they're almost, the further down this corridor you get, kind of the louder this gets in your head. That this sort of ringing of excitement at first, and this was especially a burst of it as you opened the door. These orbs are especially loud. in your mind. But as you, it's like excitement. As you pass these orbs, shock, and as you go further past, disappointment.
Ooh.
Until the point, depending on how far in you go. Do you go all the way into the middle room?
I guess.
There is an entire cacophony of disappointment behind you when you reach the middle room.
I don't feel welcome.
There's this extreme thing where the orbs leading in. And it's also, some of them, by the way, were lighting up. They were getting ready to do something.
Ooh.
But then there's like, once it gets to the shock phase, each one sort of powers down. And then doesn't do whatever it was going to do. Which is good if this is a security system. But if it's something else, it's hard to say.
My security system is disappointed in me. It's never a good sign.
So you have this, so in this room, this middle room, you have books along all the walls. So the walls are shelves, basically. You have this wooden staircase, that sort of is a spiral staircase, going up to the next level. And then you have a kitchen in the room beyond. Sort of narrow kitchen.
Okay.
Is there something you would like to examine or do while you're down here?
I'm just gonna go look at like titles on the books. What kind of books past me read?
So you've got a lot of it's very much, there's a certain degree of there is this kind of a self-help section, is one of the first things that you come to, and it's a lot of books about like goals and numerology and things where it's like trying to hold on to your specific tasks, things like that. There is very much a sort of a theme of forge your future self into who you want to be amongst these. Similarly, as you get close to these books in particular, there's this sort of brief gasp of like of surprise, and then this thing where it's like it feels like each one of them is trying to is like insisting on being read. It's not like that you feel this way, but it's that they're like, oh, you really need to read me.
I'd be like, good, thanks. I'm gonna walk over to one of the orbs that feels disappointed me, and I'm gonna be like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna be like, did I do something?
This orb is sort of lights dimly for a second, and it seems to be just kind of like, it's kind of confused, and also just, it seems almost a little bit put out. You think you used there was like a system you had with this or something. There was something you used these all in concert to do. And The way it's lighting up, you think is a query of some kind,
Oh.
where you're supposed to tell it to do something.
I'm gonna, because I'm still very confused about everything, but I'm trying what I know, which isn't much. I'm gonna be like, sorry, I don't remember what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, just an apology, not asking it to tell me. This is just me apologizing for not knowing the correct answer.
It, There's like a pause, and it's sort of like, it's very confused now. And then it will kind of just be like, and you see a series of a couple of letters and numbers show up on it. And it's let's see, L2, E7.
E7. Hmm. Interesting. Like, I don't know what that means, but thanks. Write that down. And then I guess, I'll keep walking into the house, I guess.
Okay. As you go back into the room with the, I will say something you're going to notice as you go back into the room with the staircase is that these shelves are all labeled as well.
Oh, one labeled L2E7.
Well, they're labeled. There's no L's, but there are letters on across the top of each one. It's A through down here. I'd say you'd have room for about 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So you've got A through F down here.
Let's go upstairs then.
Okay. You head upstairs. On the second floor, I'm actually going to draw another card.
Oh boy.
Because I cannot stop myself. Ha ha ha. Oh dear. Okay. So we have once again drawn the misunderstood beast, which is notions. And we draw this one fairly often, but yes, something is misunderstood. Something is misperceived. Perhaps it looks like a threat at first, but it's not really necessarily. You get up to the second floor, and up here, I think your second floor. Yeah. I think your second floor is where you have there's like a laboratory.
Good.
So there are a lot of books in here. There is a work table, and the staircase continues up to a third floor. But this room is dedicated entirely to, you've got the shelves of books all the way around again, in the same order. But then you also have tables with a few other tomes on them, very neatly stacked. You have a few chests that are labeled. You have more sort of like little individual cube containers again of freestanding shelves that are also labeled with different ingredients and different things on them. There are areas where there's parchment and quill and places to write and sheafs of paper and things of that nature. And up here again, the main shelves all the way around, you've actually got A through J.
J. So we repeated A through F?
Yeah. So you've also got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J up here as far as.
What about like the not the bookshelves, but the like material shelves and stuff? Does anything say L2E7 on it, or just one of those things?
As you look at each of the shelves, you do see there are numbers. Kind of. Well, would there be? Yeah, I mean, it's like on the side of, as you're looking, you're starting to look around on the side of the shelves that go around the walls. On one of them, you do see numbers like 1, 2, 3, from top to bottom. And each one does actually have like 8 shelves on it. And you're beginning to presume, as it just sort of, it will kind of dawn on you. You think after a few minutes, you walk around a couple of times, and you realize you're on level 2. And so probably, you can actually look over at the E shelf. And you can see which shelf would be E7 up here if that's the system.
Yeah. Do I see anything exciting there?
There are. These look like journals. And you can see very close to the left-hand side, as you're scanning the titles, you see one that says, Apologies and Concerns.
Oh, pull that one out.
Okay. So you pull it out, and it's kind of, it's like it's got, this looks like this was not bound as like professionally as the other books, but so it's like it's probably, there's something that feels a little familiar about it as you pull it out, but it's so it's like a book that's kind of designed to, as you sort of tie it together, you bind it that way, and then you can add pages to it. One of those. And you're looking through, and you're seeing journal entries that is in very familiar handwriting that looks like your handwriting, actually. And the thing is, when you open the book and you're looking through and you're recognizing it, you're getting this almost overwhelming feeling the further in you go, even as you're leafing through the pages, of remorse and regret. Very strong feelings of regret. Something else I will say that you find, and I forgot to mention this, as you are looking around this level, is there are quite a few. There are some cabinets that have that are locked. They have like padlocks on them or combination locks. In here, and yeah, it's not even. It's like it's closed and it's got a combination lock system on it. But and you look through and you can see at the back there are codes that you have written down. There's like a page in here in the back that you've inserted, and it looks like these are combinations to these, maybe to those cabinets.
Okay. Try some of them, see what happens.
To go over, and there's There's a, there's like an index system. So you go over and you open one of them. You kind of, turn the dial until it, you hit it, you hear it click, and you turn this handle, and you open the cabinet. You swing the handle back. And this cabinet is full, has a couple of kind of nasty looking crossbows in it. They don't look well used. They look actually pretty fairly pristine. But there are also there's also a section here with like a little sort of shelf area that pulls out, and there are like scrolls in there. And these are sort of weird looking crossbows too. They've got kind of attachments and things, and one of them has like a gem looking thing set into it.
I'm gonna pick one up. These weird crossbows.
It feels not terribly familiar, but a little bit. It kind of is almost, it responds, it's almost like it wants to be used.
That's cool. I'm gonna just put that back down.
Kind of in one of the, if you look at any of the scrolls that are in there, you sort of open it up, it looks like it's a design document. Again, in your handwriting. It looks like something you were working, and it's not like, this isn't like a maker's thing, so it's not exactly a design as in how to put one of these together. It's more about how to enchant one of these things. It's like there's a very complicated spell that looks like you were working out at one time.
In order to enchant one of these weird ass crossbows?
Yeah. And the odd thing is, as you're looking at it, you're getting kind of a sense of, there's almost, as you're reading it, the scroll itself almost has a slight hint of devastation about it. And while the formulas are foreign to you, the formulae are foreign to you, that you're looking at them, you kind of get the impression, so maybe you get kind of a half memory here that this is supposed to make this is supposed to make it do more damage more efficiently.
Well, I don't love that. Cool. Well, I'm gonna put that back down. Was there anything in my weird journal or in one of these cabinets that seems to have anything to do with the orbs?
So yeah, as you're looking, so not in the cabinets per se, but as you're looking again through the journal, you can see there, it's like there are a number of names, and it's like in here, and there's like a list of names in one place, and their names, some of them are crossed out, and it's not, as you're kind of looking through other parts of the journal as sort of entries, it's like you realize there are like columns here, and that's like that's like useful and then not useful. It's kind of what useful and useless are a couple of columns. But
Does this
then
have people's names in it?
and there's people's names, yeah. And then but then as you get further into the journal, it's like, there are some things that are more like diary entries a little bit, and it's become sort of a thing. It was like with some notes where it's like, I sometimes wonder how they feel, and whether this is what I'm doing, and whether what I'm doing is right.
I'm making a really bad first impression of myself. Well, that's cool and also uncomfortable.
Yeah. It seems that the regret gets more and more intense the further into the journal you get, and there are more and more entries related to the possibility that war is coming, although it doesn't really specify much about the war, just mostly that kind of. I'm sorry, I'm reading into this. I don't know how much time you're actually taking to look the journal over.
I got nothing better to do.
As you're looking it over, you kind of get a sense that the further in you get, that it's like you were under more and more stress the further in you got to try to basically think and sort of putting this all together. Putting together ways to enhance weaponry and putting together ways to affect and control people. And it was something that you didn't want to be doing. But it's kind of like you were just burying that to get the job done, because there was apparently something very pressing that...
Do I remember the war? Like, when I come back from Shadow, I remember that I was there because of the war. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I was.
You remember there was a war. You do not remember any details about it.
I'm not like surprised to discover that there was a war. I already knew that.
Yeah, you kind of already knew that. And also, it's kind of, you've realized most of the other Vizsla you've run into also can't remember the war. But they remember that there was one.
Okay. Cool. Didn't help me figure out the orbs.
The orbs, right, yes.
Also those.
You think, just looking through some of it, and as is more of it sort of coming to you a little bit, there is like an entry. It takes you a little while, but kind of, that does kind of mention them, as apparently they're an index system. And apparently you were looking on trying to boost their range into being able to index things other than in your house.
Well, that's cool. Weird, but cool. Less depressing than the rest of the content of this book. Well, I'm going to put this sad book down. I'm going to be like I'm going to have the book when I put it down. I'm going to like pat it and be like, well, thank you. So I put it back down.
Well, this book, of course, is full of apologies and concerns, so the things that you were excited about aren't necessarily in there so much. But there is, like, seemed to be great disappointment that you could not expand the range of the orbs to do whatever project you were doing with them.
Okay, then. Well, sorry, orbs. Roshka's new strategy is just apologize to everything. Sorry.
Become Canadian. No, sorry.
I'm gonna keep looking around since I found a kitchen, right? Have I found like a bedroom yet?
Not yet. Not in this. Not in the first 2 floors.
Okay, well, I guess I'll keep going and see what else is in this weird book house.
All right, floor number 3. I'm gonna draw a card. Oh God.
Oh God.
So, card I've drawn is the Crowded Tomb.
Wow, the deck just really loves me in my house.
It does, doesn't it? Meanings, endings, despair, completion. The tomb lies at the end of all stories. The reward for the greatest monarch and lowliest beggar. Of course, the tomb is crowded. It grows more crowded each day. Mourners crowd around the tomb, but it is even more crowded within. So many deaths, so many endings. Crowded tomb is the location card of the Secrets family, and thus represents a permanence or is related to a physical place. This means that the finality it represents probably occurs in a specific and significant location.
Well.
In divination, the crowded tomb is an ending, not necessarily a sudden ending, an ending that you know full well is coming, whether you acknowledge it or not. It might just mean that a task is finished. It doesn't always need to be sad. Everything needs to end sometime. But there is an air of despair to this card. Not outright misery, perhaps, but a lingering sadness, a mourning. Okay.
Cool.
So, bedroom.
Oh, good.
I'm trying to decide how dark I want to get with this. I don't want to make your character too dark. Because, my God, look what happened to Shantano.
The deck is stacked against us.
It might be. It might be. So feel free to axe any of this that comes up as we're doing this. So yeah. Third floor. There's an elegant 4-poster bed here. In side of the room. Again, there are shelves full of books along the walls. And there are a couple of windows and what have you, but there's a nice sort of armchair up here. This is the room that looks kind of to an extent homiest of the rooms, because there are a few comfort items here. I'm going to say every level actually had a bathroom, but I'm not going to go into extreme detail.
Describe that.
So this one does as well. There are no warm colors. It's kind of a hardwood floor. And there are a few books and what have you here. For a moment, as you're coming up onto this floor, and you're looking around, so there is you realize along one wall there's a mirror. Actually, no, there's no mirror. Sorry. Mirrors are viruses. We can't have that. Not in this setting. Can't use a mirror. In this room. All right, hell, I'm just going to do this. As you're looking over at the bed, it's very strange because it's like there is this sense the bed has of this almost resigned sense. It's a sense of resignation and maybe low-level horror. That you're kind of hit with when you see it.
It's not a terribly restful place to sleep.
Yeah, as does the armchair a little bit as you look at it. And the weird thing is, sort of as you're moving around this room, you sort of can go past one of the posters of the bed for a moment. It's like there's someone sitting on the edge of the bed.
In what way? Like it looks like that, or it feels like that, or
It's like you're not sure if you're seeing someone or if you're remembering something. You're having a flashback, maybe, within your flashback. Um, you remember seeing someone, well, not really. You're not sure who you're seeing at first. But they're sitting on the edge of the bed. And you know they're not here now.
okay.
But you're kind of in your mind's eye, you're remembering this as you're entering. That there should be someone sitting there. But you get this sort of sense of dread almost that you don't really want to know why someone should be sitting there.
No. That's cool. Well, I was gonna rest here, but I don't think I want to be here anymore. I'm gonna go back downstairs to the kitchen, find a chair.
So as you're turning around, you're just sort of looking, you're starting to head back toward the stairs. The person who's not sitting on the bed sort of straightens up and looks in your direction.
Oh, that's horrible.
And you realize their eyes are kind of like hollow, leading to space almost, it looks like. And there's this almost nervous kind of longing and pain. And you kind of realize that the face on it is yours. You think that's... And you're not sure why you're seeing this from the outside of yourself, but you think that that was you sitting there in that state.
Ultra concerning. Definitely going to the kitchen.
It's very, yeah, you could sort of get out of there. Yeah, it's kind of like... It was, in a way, kind of looking like into almost your own grave, really, to an extent, because it's like that you get this definitive sense that it's like, okay, reality is over for that person. You head back down the stairs. In the kitchen, there are some wooden chairs. Well, yeah, there's a wooden chair and a little table, and there are some very delightful knives on a rack, and shelves that with different cups and bowls and plates on it, and each shelf is labeled. And there's a window that looks into the backyard, where you can see the covered garage. And looks very small from here, the backyard.
Well, I'm going to sit at a table and look at my backyard that I didn't know I had until today. And I came down here for a reason. I was going to... Oh, yeah, I was going to read that letter, the one that's an invitation to someone.
Yes.
Someplace.
So you pull out the chair, which sighs resignedly, and you sit you sit down on the chair, and it meows. You read the letter, and this is an invitation to an event going on tonight. Apparently, there is an address. That apparently there is a there is an advancement ceremony and to celebrate a member's ascension into, let's see, into the, oh wait, I had it right here, into the Parsead, into the Parsead, Parasad. I can't pronounce this word, it's a strange word. P-A-R-E-S-A-A-D, the Parasad, I shall say. And it's weird because there's like, you know the word, but you can't remember what it means.
Cool.
It's like, it's supposed to be, there's this almost this little sense of longing also accompanying the word, and it's like, that it's like there was something important about it, but...
Well, is this like, could I still make this event if I left for it?
Yeah, actually, if you leave soon, you should be able to make it, you think, based on where the address is.
Well, I will check to see if I'm wearing something like, you know, reasonably presentable, and if I am, I'm gonna head back out, go to this place that I've been invited. Apparently people were hoping I would make.
It's presentable for Shadow.
Well, I will go back upstairs to the
That's
creepy
fine.
fucking bedroom and check my closet.
I feel like there's nothing but power suits up there. But you can correct me if perhaps there's, or you can let me know if you think there'd be something else. Like
No, yeah, sure. This is very much Eroshka being like, I guess I was the kind of person who wore power suits. Put that shit on. Okay. But Eroshka is gonna find one that's black.
Absolutely. I think most of them are black.
Oh, good. So she's gonna find a black power suit, put that shit on, and go to this address to see what this thing is that she sort of feels like she should know what it is but doesn't.
Okay. So you head out. You you lock up the book. Maybe.
Climb up the stupid ladder.
Yeah, if you so desire. Climb the ladder, lock up the book. It closes. And you head south. You head back out. Where's the thing? It's gone. There it is. You head you head back out. You head south on Limerence, and then you have to turn and head south on Delahan, because that's more properly where kind of the street that's closest in that neighborhood, a neighborhood just to the south. You can see as you're heading down Delahan, you see that it heads up, and then there's this cul-de-sac hovering above the further down, just sort of hovering in midair. And then there's this playground, and just beyond it, you can just barely see the top of a rocket peeping out for some reason, like in what would be the middle of a street. But you turn right, and you head down this side road, and you see this as you're coming along. You get kind of a place where you can either head left that goes down to what looks like down to a sort of a low brick building, but then back up to the right. It goes further up this hill to this very large mansion.
Do I know which one I'm supposed to go to? Do I know that I'm going to the mansion?
The mansion looks familiar.
Mansion looks
And
familiar.
you think it's probably the mansion.
Okay, well, go to the mansion then.
So you head up, and the front gates are actually open because they're having a gathering tonight. You can see the lights are on. You can hear what sounds kind of like minimalist music coming out. For some reason, I feel like Vances are fans of Philip Glass. I don't know why.
Well, she's like, wow, these people are boring. She's gonna
The
keep going
music of
though.
meth.
Apparently they know her.
And as you're sort of heading up, there are these steps that you head up, and there's this. You hear this music coming from inside, and there's this big door with a knocker on it. That it's probably some kind of odd bird's head, I think.
So, like, I think we established that I remember that I'm a Vance.
Mm-hmm.
Have I, like, walking up to this place, do I remember that this is, like, where the Vances live?
Yeah. Yeah, you're remembering that you used to come here frequently. There are apartments in here where people would where a lot of the first degree Vances would live. And there are others here as well. It's sort of a common area where they would do. It's not exactly Vance Hogwarts, but it's basically a kind of a learning center, as it were.
Okay. I've clearly graduated since I'm like, well, I don't live here anymore. I live in a giant book because I'm apparently very bookish.
Apparently.
Well, I'm gonna clutching my invitation. I'm going to go into this party.
Okay.
And like I know what I'm doing.
Yes. Oh, okay. Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to draw another card.
Oh boy.
Okay. So this time the card is the rat. The companion of mysteries. Its meanings are survival, resistance, shadows, and concealment. I think we've drawn the rat before, but rats are masters of survival. They're hardy, smart, and stealthy. Some rats, of course, get very smart and devise whole new ways of prospering, and humans literally right under their nose. Amid humans, literally right under their noses. A few rats learn to adopt human identities through disguise, concealment, and trickery. Many of them in a trench coat, I guess. Humans, as a group, are notoriously easy to fool as long as you don't overtly threaten them, and rats have no need to do so. Rats is the companion of the mysteries family. The rat sees much and learns much and keeps those secrets to itself. It keeps the shadows and, in fact, is the lord of the shadows. In divination, if one can keep a low profile, success is very likely. If a stronger force presents itself, resist, but do so cleverly from the shadows, not openly. Sometimes survival is the best one can hope for. But that is the very thing the rat card suggests. No matter what, the person in question will at least survive if they keep concealed. All right. Interesting. So yeah, are you knocking on the door? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, yep. Going
right.
to this party. Sound like I know what the hell I'm doing. Seems like a great idea.
This sounds awesome. So, after a few moments, the front door opens, sort of swings open, and you see an older gentleman wearing kind of a butler's uniform just looks at you. Oh my God. Miss Aroshka.
That's me. I have an invitation to this thing.
Yes. Yes, of course. Do come in. Do come in. Yes, of course. And he'll step aside, and he's kind of like, he's not entirely sure. It's like he was really not expecting to see you. There's something kind of familiar about him. As you come inside, and he's like looking to take your coat, and you may not be wearing a coat, so he's like, and then he closes the door behind you, and as you come inside, this is a. You hear the minimalist music continuing to play, and then it's like, it's almost, there's like this little bit of scratching over it, as though it's playing on an old record, so you've got a big sort of entrance hall, a foyer, if you will, stairs leading up to a second level, and the main hall just sort of leading toward the the main entrance will kind of see this kind of mansion. Yeah, I don't think the stairs entirely take up the front room. It just sort of they come up on the sides, and then underneath you can go in. He's says your colleagues will be gathered in the games hall.
Great.
This way, Mom. And he seems to catch it, and he starts escorting you.
I'm doing a shit job blending in.
So he says, as you're kind of going, he's sort of looking back a little bit concerned as you're heading down this long hallway, and he says, "To be fair, I'm somewhat taken aback. They were not quite. I don't believe any of them are going to be expecting you."
Well, I just got back.
Indeed. So it would appear. Yes. Of course. And he sort of stops at so you can hear the music now getting louder, to the point where he stops at this set of open doors, and he gestures. He says, "In here, Ma'am. Would you like a drink?"
Yes.
Very good. Do you still drink? Is it a dry martinis? Is that it?
Well, bring me one and we'll find out.
Very good, Mom. And he heads further back. He scampers off.
Okay, well, I'm gonna assume that he's gonna bring me my drink at the party. So I'm gonna go in the party.
You go in. This room has a few different sort of kinds of games of amusement here. There's a pool table. It's a thing that looks kind of like a dartboard. But then also there are a few different places where there are a few different like chess boards. and such. And then there is what looks like toward the back, there's like a large chessboard on the floor. That's, the floor is kind of sort of set up toward the back half of this place. But then there are also a number of a few chalkboards in here as well, and with like a number of equations on them. And there's a big fireplace off to the side. It currently has a fire in it. There are some big sort of ostentatious overstuffed chairs in here. There are a few examples of taxidermy around the room, mostly birds. So a large stuffed raven is looking down at you disapprovingly as you enter. And you get this sense of disapproval from it, actually, as you pass. And
yeah, Ruzik means owl, by the way. I was like, oh, good. There's dead bird.
Oh yeah, because on the mantelpiece behind there are a number of individuals here. Some of them look relatively human. Some of them look like they're humanoid, but made of other things. But they're all sort of gathered around, and a couple of them wearing sort of more robe-like things, and they're gathered in front of the fireplace. And as you sort of come around and see them sort of talking, they're doing something ceremonial. On the fireplace, right, sort of dead in the middle, is a taxidermied owl, a stuffed owl, that's looking down at you with a terrified expression on its face.
Great.
And as you pass by each piece of furniture, each game board is surprised and concerned.
Oh, good. The actual physical games are surprised and concerned, not the people at them.
Yeah, not the people at them. Well, the people at them are actually everyone's kind of paying attention to the ceremony right now. And so there's this big sort of thing going up. There's some people whom you kind of recognize, and one of them is yeah, let me see here. Where is it? It's gone again. All right. Okay. Yeah. There's a short fellow whom actually you're going to also see later at the at Isabella's party.
Okay.
Who has a blue cigarette in his hand. And you actually remember his name. His name is Bravish.
Bravish.
And he's very sharply dressed, and he's watching. And he's kind of watching from closer to the back this ceremony. Everyone else, you're having trouble remembering their names.
Cool. I'm going to stand at the back and see if I know what's going on in the ceremony.
So, it looks like there's this old sort of wizardly gentleman, though don't call them wizards, with kind of a beard, sort of longish beard, and his eyes, in fact, are glasses. They have lenses that kind of actually shutter and open, that kind of thing. And he's saying, and so as we're very thankful to our sister to have to be as self-sacrificial as she is, to be entering the parasad. It's very, very. It is a difficult life sometimes, but it is one that is. It is a post that is much needed, and we wish her the best of luck. And there's some polite applause as you see this. This sort of short lady, as you finally kind of can sort of see through the crowd. She has it's kind of blood red hair that is pulled back very severely, and it actually might actually be made out of cloth of some kind.
Okay.
So it's kind of, her hair is woven back.
She has cloth growing out of her head, or?
Yeah, kind of.
Interesting.
And she looks, as she's looking around, she nods, and she's smiling very lightly, and those who in the front, they say speech, and she says, thank you very much. I didn't even realize I was going to come anywhere near a posting of this kind. And had it not been for the sacrifice of others that we should remember, I would not have it at all. In particular, there are a lot of names that I could speak right now, and I doubt that I would remember absolutely everyone. So I brought a list, and there are a few chuckles from the front. But before I get to this, I just wanted to say, had it not been for the ingenuity, as she's scanning the faces, and the sacrifice of our dear, and she locks eyes with you and she says, Aroshka! You can hear a pin drop right now. The Victrola in the corner that's been playing the minimalist music actually at that moment goes everything stops. And that's weird. I think something was trying to play a commercial. Oh well. Here, do that. You're on a website and they start playing a commercial. But anyway, no, there's absolute silence, and the heads all in the room all turn to look at you, and you hear a gasp, a couple of gasps. You hear a crash of glass as someone drops their drink. And it's dead silence as they're all just staring at you.
I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that's me.
And she just sort of covers her mouth for a moment. She's just like, "Thank you, everyone. This is a great honor." I'm just gonna. I'm just going to and you hear drinks, and the butler is standing next to you. He is materialized next to you, and he is holding out a. He's got a tray, and he's got a martini on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the martini, and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna pick it up, and I'm just gonna take it like a delicate little sip. Be like, I'm deciding if I like this or not. I'd be like, put that back down.
There's a lot of coughing, and a few people are kind of like, the butler is starting to come around, and they're like grabbing drinks off the tray. And they're like, oh my god. There's some whispering and just sort of muttering, and people are starting to kind of, the old man with the beard is like, yes, perhaps Perhaps we should all settle back down to the evening's revels and have some more drinks. And people are sort of like muttering and very quietly. They're breaking up now into kind of like into dyads and triads and whatever the number 4 version of that is. 4 people at a time. Quarter? Anyway. Yeah.
Quartets?
Quartets, yes, that's it. They're singing. So you see him like turning to the short lady that just has received this honor, and she seems to be trying to like calm her down.
I feel like I ruined her party.
And so she sees you there, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
You were sorry?
It's okay. Are we okay? Are you?
Yeah, sure. I don't know, I just got back, like today.
The gentleman with the beard will slowly is hobbling back over in your direction. He looks you up and down. And this lady's just sort of looking at you and she's like, "So you're not upset?"
Upset about. I don't know what I would be upset about.
Oh, nothing.
Nothing. Oh, that sounds rather a lot like something.
I just missed the drink tray. I'm going to grab. Would you like something? I'm going to go get something.
That was quite an evasion, but sure, bring me something that's not a martini, and we'll see if I like it.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll be right back. And she sort of scampers out. The old gentleman with the beard is looking at you and is like, "And you know this guy. He is. You remember learning things from him at some point. You can't remember which things you learned, but you know that he was teaching you something."
Teaching me something.
Yeah. Like, so just returned, have you?
Oh, yes.
They're, yeah. You know that everyone here is rather. I take it you can't fail to notice everyone's rather surprised that you're here.
I would say that, yes, that I have noticed that.
I wonder why you're here.
I received an invitation in the mail, and it sounded rather urgent.
Oh, well, yes, the ceremony. We just had it.
I was invited, so I showed up.
Oh, indeed, yes. No, the invitations were... we didn't revise the spell, and the invitations went out. I must simply ask... so you've no intention of attempting to resume your former post, have you?
I don't know what it was. So, no, I suppose.
Interesting.
If it has something to do with the things in my house, probably not.
It had a certain number of things to do with what was in your house, yes. Also, I suspect Vivienne is rather upset simply because you before you left, it was at least we know that you were, I believe you were seeking a post in the Parasad, and the two of you rather had a bit of competition going.
I don't even remember what the post is, so she's welcome to it.
They are crisis response. They in times of magical crises, they will very quickly attempt to deal with it at virtually any cost. But it seems you are rather different now, yes?
Well, you tell me.
You are rather different, yes. I don't know. No. And you'll see kind of a couple of folks are kind of wandering over a little bit as you're kind of talking. Bravish is wandering over also as this is going on. And and you see that, from what you can tell, and it's hard to tell to read his expression, but you are getting a little bit of concern off of him. It's not like social concern. It's more sort of concern for your well-being from the from the dude with the glasses. Bravish kind of comes over and he's like, I'm fairly certain I'm supposed to know you.
You know me? Your name's Bravish.
Yes. Yes.
That's all I've got.
Yours is escaping me at the moment. All right, but well, you're Arushka though. She just said it, yes.
Yes, apparently
You're
everyone
Arush-
knows me.
You're Arushka. Huh. Yes. Well, this is quite an honor. You're very skilled, from what I hear.
Sure.
Bit of the gray still in the old noggin, eh?
Oh, yes, I just came back today. I know my name. I found my house. That's about as far as we've gotten.
Ah, I see. And anything in there? Anything in there trigger anything?
Maybe. It was a bit of a surreal experience.
Well, it can be that way. It certainly can. You see, Vivienne has come back with some drinks. She has... She's, has grabbed you a thing of brandy, a snifter of brandy, which she slowly sort of tries to hand to you.
I will take it, I guess.
She's slowly just drinks hers as she's watching you.
I'll take a sip.
It's very warming, but also it's brandy, so it depends on if you're used to it or not.
Well, real life me doesn't drink, so I don't know if Eroshka likes this one or
Okay.
not.
Um, yeah, the brandy glass doesn't seem to, it seems indifferent. But, yeah, I'd say it's like, it's got a bit of a kick. And, so, as, Vivian is just sort of now looking, it's like she's studying you right now.
I'm just gonna stare at her while sipping this brandy that I'm a little uncertain about.
So there's an uncomfortable pause. A long, uncomfortable pause. So. Did you ever work out the equation, by the way?
I found an equation in a book in my house. I didn't really take a lot of time to study it. So, excellent question.
Just sort of looks around. That was the thesis you were going to put in. Interesting. Do you not remember any of the work that we did?
I maybe found some of it. I don't particularly remember it. I don't particularly remember anything at the moment. I only showed up here because I found an invitation in my mailbox.
I would, oh, well, I suppose I'm going to, in another day or so, I'm going to have to, of course, take up my post, but if you like, in the next day or so, I could maybe come over and help with sorting some of that out, if you like.
I'm immediately suspicious because somebody just told me that we used to be rivals. This is not me saying this. This is me, Eris, saying this. I'm not saying this to this person. Like, yeah, I don't trust you. I'm just gonna like continue staring at them with my brandy, and I will like take a sip and kind of put the glass down a little bit and say, I'll think about it.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah, it's just, let me know. I'll be here. And, then, the older gentleman is just, kind of shaking his head. And, he says, ambition. It is something that sometimes comes to curse us all. And hearing him say that, you remember him saying that before, and you remember that you think you've actually got hold of his name when that happens. And yes, you think that his name is Ludovic.
I will just nod in a like, yes, sage advice.
And he just sort of shakes his head, and he looks over at you, and he says, I fear you have a number of pieces to put together, but Do call again if you sort it out.
Sure.
And he looks at you with this thing. It's not quite disappointment, but it's like borderline kind of. Could it be pity? It's hard to say. But he turns and he starts talking to some other folks, and a few other people start coming up. Bravish just kind of is talking normally. He's the only one that's trying to talk to you normally, seemingly. And as he's trying to remember things, and asking whether you remember them, and you don't remember most of them. You remember a few things that he doesn't. Yeah, so he seems to be reacting normally, but everyone else pretty much that comes up to kind of talk to you, everyone kind of is looking at you kind of from a distance, and then kind of as they get brave enough, they kind of come up to you, and it's like the looks you get turn kind of more almost vulture-like they're appraising a potential piece of meat, and they keep coming up and saying things like, well, if you need any help with your reintegration, I'm quite sure I could open up an hour or two, and perhaps help you work out one of those details you were trying to figure out with your orbs. And then things like that, or things where they're asking for things. It's like, I think I left a very important sash at your place a while back. So if you've had access to that, I'd be very interested to see that again. A lot of things kind of like that. They all seem to want something.
Everybody wants to get into my house.
Yeah.
Well,
they're all looking at you kind of vulture-like, and like they're trying to, yeah. And you get this feeling, this very unsettling feeling, that perhaps they're not being entirely truthful. It's hard to say. The owl on the mantelpiece certainly seems to think they're lying.
I'm gonna look the owl on the mantelpiece straight in the eyes. Fake dead eyes. And kind of squint at it. I'm going to completely ignore all these people making requests to me and look at this fake owl, or this dead owl.
So you slowly tune all of these, and it's now like almost a little cloud of people around you, asking for things, nipping at your heels almost for these things. They all want a piece of you. And the owl, you just look dead set at its eyes, and for just a split second you hear this impression in the back of your head that seems to come from the owl, and it says, "Run."
I'm going to take the last sip of my drink. And I'm going to turn to one of the people who was asking me for a specific object, yeah, I totally left that in your house. And I'm going to say, just not exactly to them, but I'm going to be looking at them when I say this. I'm going to be like, well, if you left anything at my place, just drop a letter in the mailbox and I'll see if I can find it. And then I'm just going to I don't know, look around for the waiter, put down my brandy glass.
The waiter appears as you're looking around.
Convenient.
Suddenly he's there. Of course, man. Of course, Mom.
I'm just going to put it down, and I'm gonna turn around and start to walk away and be like, it's been a long day. I will see you
Yes.
next time.
Yes, it was quite good to see you, everyone's. And Bravish is like, yeah, good to see you, Arshka. I'll see you again soon, hopefully. Yeah, these people need to calm down a little. And but you see, they're getting this line of kind of almost this hungry pursuit as they're slowly, people are following you toward the exit. You're like, as you're kind of getting to the, coming down the hallway, and you sort of come around the corner toward the foyer, and Vivian is standing right there, near the entrance, and she's just sort of looking, and she's as you're getting to the exit, she says, "Oh, so sorry. I'm getting the impression this might be a little overwhelming for you. Important tip. You seem to have kind of forgotten the game. It might be a good idea for you to remember it first before you come back. Just a little friendly advice."
I know I said next time, but I don't think I'm actually going to come back. But thank you. Sorry, this is an out of character question. But it's like people who are in one of the orders have the weird hand thing, right?
Yes.
That they carry everywhere with them.
Yes, that's right. They have one of these.
The apostates don't have one, right?
That's right. They have the Vertulicata, which is more like a rod type looking thing, with a couple of pointy ends.
I'm just gonna take the weird hand thing and what was her name? Vivian?
Vivian, yeah.
I'm just gonna hand it to her and walk out.
Oh my goodness. She's taken aback because of what that means. And you head out.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna actually go back to my house though. I think this is the stage where Rosha's like, oh, fuck this shit. And then she goes and finds an abandoned costume shop.
Well, yeah, it's the thing is that one memory that you're holding on to, I think, as you're walking out, and I feel like maybe if I may take a little license here, you probably, you head out, past this, through this field, past this, what is like a hostel of some kind that mostly Goetics use, and out into this kind of square, and this road heading down between all these buildings or gardens nearby, and your eyes light on this theater, and you remember going to see productions there a little bit. You remember seeing some of them with music, and you kind of remember the music, and it was very warm, it was very welcoming, and it was like the one place where nobody wanted anything from you. Where you could just go and escape for a little while. Looks kind of a little more dilapidated than you remember, but there it is.
Well, I'll go in there.
And,
I developed a new house.
And no one's using it at the moment. And it's very run down at this point. It's there's a lot perhaps work to do, but it is livable. And you're much more comfortable here because everything here is happy to see you.
Still getting used to this whole thing where suddenly things have opinions.
Yeah, there is that. And I think that's about where we're going to close this, unless there's anything else you'd like to take care of.
No, I think that handles I went and visited the Vancean mansion and no one wanted to tell me anything useful.
If you would like to get another point of despair for having lived through this again, you may have one.
Oh boy. Now I have one joy and one despair. Look at that.
There you go. You got crux.
One whole crux.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, there we are. So we will go ahead and then head over to our outros.
Shortest outro.
Very brief outro. Thanks so much for coming and doing this. I always, I think I've been saying this in the few past one. I think these development mode sessions have rapidly become my favorite part of this game. Really, just enjoying the sort of the deep dive into characters and what they're doing, what they want to do. But yeah, feel free to let folks know where to find you and any final thoughts you have about this session.
That definitely turned out a little bit different than I was expecting it to, but I'm glad I worked out some details about things. Yeah, everybody's character just gets to be secretly really dark. Anyways, that being said, I'm Arras, or Animus Panthera. Mostly you can find me on the Twitter. The only place you can find me streaming at the moment is right here. Usually on Saturdays. Yeah, that's it. That's me.
Yay! And once again, I'm Jim. I'm Jim Ryan. This is my channel. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, and YouTube channel. Let's see, here on, well, not here, but on Fridays, I'm over on Off the Table, playing in their 1890s Urban Shadows campaign. We're getting rapidly close to the end of that. Just only maybe another session or two left, and the city is going to explode, probably. We'll have to see. And I, a servant of a demon, am trying to keep it from exploding because, you know, we need the souls. But there we are. That's at off_the-table. Back on this channel on Saturday nights is when we have our Invisible Sun campaign, the regular sessions with Arras and with everyone else. I think they recently stumbled across the plot of the directed campaign and are now very cleverly attempting to solve it by not solving it.
We have a great not a plan.
That's right. They're looking for a missing street by avoiding looking for the missing street, and so we'll see next time if they manage to throw themselves at the ground and miss. I
guess I don't know if we ever mentioned that since Aroshka's house is on the street, it's also disappeared, but she doesn't remember.
Yeah. Well, she hasn't been up there, so she doesn't realize it's that street. But on Sundays here on this channel, we do one-shots. This Sunday's one-shot is the second of the two Mythic Rome scenarios that I'm doing for Savage Worlds. And so if you want to see basically satyrs and centaurs and minotaurs mixing it up with the Romans and gladiators and what have you, tune in for that. Then on Tuesday evenings here on this channel, we have our this coming Tuesday we'll have the finale of our short campaign of Amber Diceless, which has been a lot of fun, and things are very much coming to a head there. Sign-ups are still open right now for next month's short campaign, which is going to be Mashed. That is a Powered by the Apocalypse game about the Korean War. I'm dying to dig into it. Sign-ups for that are open for one more week. They're open until Wednesday the 28th. And then I will try to figure out what the schedule is going to be, because it's kind of an open schedule. You make selections, and then I pick the players based on the intersections of those schedules. So we'll see how that goes. But as always, beginners are more than welcome. And soon there will be sign-ups for the one-shots happening next month. Hopefully within the next few days I'll start getting those up. We've got some interesting things coming up. At least things I find interesting coming up at the very least. Which one of the first of which will be Invaders, which is all about a comedy game about being aliens invading the planet Earth. It's delightful, and just looking forward to that. But that's that. So I don't think we're going to do a raid or anything right now. We're just going to take off. But so folks, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I shall see you all of a sudden. Farewell.